The mountain was black, not shadowed, scorched. Deep in the Arabian desert, one peak is capped in blackened stone, as if fire once touched it from above. Every tradition says Moses met God on Mount Sinai. This is echoes of antiquity untold. For 16 centuries, pilgrims have climbed a granite peak in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, certain they were walking the same ground Moses walked. But what if they were wrong? Because the text itself says something the tradition overlooks. The mountain where God came down was not in Egypt, it was in Midian, when Arabia. And a growing number of researchers now believe they have found it. This is the history behind the history, and it begins with a mountain that looks like it once burned. Jebel Musa, the mountain of Moses. At its foot sits St. Catherine's Monastery, one of the oldest continuously operating Christian monasteries on earth. The tradition is beautiful. It is old, it is powerful, but age is not the same thing as evidence. And here is where the archaeology begins to speak. The first witness is the text itself, and the text is startlingly specific. The Apostle Paul wrote something no pilgrim route could explain away: Mount Sinai in Arabia. Not Egypt, Arabia. And Arabia in the first century meant something very different from what it means today. It meant the land east of the sea, the land of Midian. And Midian is exactly where the story of Moses begins. Before the burning bush, before the plagues, before the Exodus. Moses was a shepherd in Midian, tending the flocks of his father-in-law Jethro. And it was there, in Midian, that he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Horeb, Sinai, two names for the same sacred ground. If the text is right, if Sinai is in Midian, then the mountain pilgrims have climbed for centuries may be the wrong one. And this is where the evidence stops being theory, because in northwestern Saudi Arabia, there is a mountain that matches the text in disturbing detail. Its name is Jebel al-Lawz, and the top of it is black. Proponents say the stone itself looks burned, and not by any ordinary fire. The biblical account says Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke, that the Lord descended on it in fire, and the whole mountain trembled. If you were looking for a mountain that had once burned, you would look for one that still carries the marks. And the marks do not end at the summit. At its base, researchers point to an altar, a platform of uncut stones like the one the text describes. Exodus says the altar must be built of unhewn stone with no iron tool raised upon it. Nearby, a massive split rock, a single boulder cracked clean through. The story says Moses struck the rock at Horeb and water came out. Some say this is that rock, but I have to stop here and be honest with you, because archaeology and theology are not enemies, and neither should be used as a weapon. Most mainstream archaeologists are deeply skeptical of these claims. The blackened stone, they say, is natural geology, volcanic rock, not divine fire. The altar, they say, could be centuries younger than Moses. The carvings, the markings, later Bedouin work, or nothing at all. And the split rock? Water flows through desert sandstone all the time. A cracked boulder is not proof of a miracle. There is a third candidate too, Har Karkom in Israel's Negev desert. Its defenders point to thousands of ancient sites and standing stones across its slopes. 3 mountains, 3 traditions. One impossible question: where did God come down? And this is what changes everything. Because maybe the mountain was never the point. The text does not ask you to find the mountain. It asks you to meet the God who came down upon it. Whether it was Jebel Musa or Jebel al-Lawz or Har Karkom, the fire was real. The encounter was real. What happened on that mountain changed the course of history. It gave the world a law carved not in stone alone, but in the heart of a people. So I will not tell you which mountain to believe in. I will only tell you this: the search for the mountain is really the search for the moment when heaven touched the earth. And that moment, wherever it happened, has never stopped echoing. If this is the kind of story you've been searching for, the history behind the history, the evidence beneath the text, then you are in the right place. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one. I'll see you in the caves.